So let's just dig right in, right? So hybrids, what are they used for? Like, what's the whole point of them, right? So this is my hybrid. This is an older hybrid, but it's my hybrid, and I like it a lot, and it still works great. This is an SLDR hybrid from TaylorMade. It's an older, like I said, it's an older one. It's got a really nice shaft in it. It's got an old Matrix HM3 95X shaft. So it's a heavier shaft, really stiff shaft, a lower spinning-ish shaft for a hybrid. And it's a good shaft in general. I like it a lot. It's a solid club. It's been a really, really good club for me for a long time. I'll probably end up upgrading this year to something a little bit newer, just because it's been getting beat on a lot. But what's the point of a hybrid? Where do they fit into your set, right? So let's look at this. I'll grab my longest iron, and I will grab my 3-wood, right? And typically, your hybrids should fit somewhere between the length of your 3-wood and your longest iron, right? And if you can see that on camera, which I'm fairly positive you can see a pretty even distance, or I'm sorry, length gap in the shafts, right? It's pretty even. So longest iron, my lonely hybrid, and then a 3-wood, right? And so the lengths of the clubs are pretty equal in terms of their differences, right? So like, you can see how it's a pretty even step up in length. So that's how I like to have things situated in my bag. If you're not careful, you're not paying attention, yours could have a different discrepancy there, right? And so you need to be careful that you are getting the right length for your clubs. Because if your clubs aren't the right length for you, and their length doesn't match up in your set very well, that's going to have some problems, right? You're going to have some inconsistency there. I recently just cut down the length of that hybrid shaft to help it fit into my set a little bit better. Yeah, I lost a little bit of distance on the back end, but I'm gaining a lot more consistency on the front end. So for me, it was a very easy decision to make. So what else does a hybrid do? Where else does it fit into your set? Typically, your hybrid's going to fill that gap between, again, your longest iron and your fairway woods, right? It's going to fill in that distance gap. If you watched the video yesterday, we did hybrids off the tee. Or, I'm sorry, we did irons off the tee. Irons off the tee, right? And so my 4-iron is the longest iron that I have, but it's got a really strong loft. And those 4-irons were going, I don't think I have them up here. Do I still have them up here? I do still have them up here. There we go. These were going on average 228 yards. So this is a video from yesterday. This is a screenshot from yesterday. The 4-iron off the tee averaged 228 yards in the air. Okay, so 228 yards in the air. My 3-wood is going to go somewhere around 250 to 260-ish in the air, right? Somewhere in that range. Well, actually more like maybe 255 to 265. That's going to be the 3-wood. So I need a club, I need a hybrid that's going to fit into that distance gap. Somewhere that goes over 235, but not as far as, say, 250. Okay? So somewhere in that 235 to 250 range is where I want a hybrid to be. And so every person's going to be a little bit different, and you're going to want a hybrid to fill a different yardage gap for you. But for me, that's what I'm looking for with this club. And again, I also went into cutting it down. Again, I wanted it to fit into that distance gap a little bit better. This was on a really, really solid ones, was creeping up into where I was hitting a 3-wood. I didn't want that. Okay, so it's got to fit into that distance gap. Another thing to look at is how high you want this club to go. Because if you look at, say, my 4-irons, you'll notice that they fly around 100 feet in the air, which I think is a little misleading. I think they fly a little bit higher in here than they do out in the real world. So you want a hybrid that's probably going to fly higher than that. So you're going to want something that flies a little bit higher than that, because you're going to want it to land a little bit softer. You're not going to want this club to come out like a bullet and roll out 30, 40 yards. You want it to get up in the air a little bit and land a little bit softer. That's typically what people look for in hybrids. Okay, they want to get up in the air and land a little bit softer. This is going to be a club that typically replaces long irons in your set. So the 2 irons, 3 irons, 4 irons that everyone used to carry 25 years ago, those are all long gone and getting replaced with these clubs because they fly higher, they're easy to hit farther, and they are easier to hit straighter. Okay? So that's kind of the purpose of hybrids in general, right?